On this episode, hot and stuff edited about tips and trips and hips and chips. Joe?
This real estate stuff is not easy, so send me your questions and I will answer them. This is the Ask Jason Show.
Hello everybody, my name is Jason Piercey and this is episode 106 of the Ask Jason Show. On the theme of bringing up conversations that we have had in the past number of 5-ish years here on the Ask Jason Show. I just spit right here. Do you want that? Do you need that for anything? This is Joe's table. We'll get a cloth later. It's okay, Ray, lie back down. We're good. Good boy. You probably heard all of that, right? Continuing with the theme of past shows that served a lot of value to our audience here at the Ask Jason Show, this is a revamp of what is probably the most successful episode ever in terms of the amount of views, the amount of shares, comments, the amount of likes and private messages into me personally or Joe or the Ask Jason Show page with thanks because it's stuff that people have been trying to figure out for a while. Here are, I'm gonna call them, a tip, a really important tip and a couple of hacks about home maintenance and repair and all of that kind of stuff that in the past people have found very... Why don't I have a word for that? Good. They found them very good. I'm so articulate. My words, I have the best words. I know all of the best words. The hugely best words. It's soon time to stop making fun of him. Like, at this point, you're teasing somebody with mental illness, right? At what point is it not okay to make fun of Donald Trump anymore? Like, is there a line? Really? There's no line? Joe says there's no line. Anyway, so the first one, the tip, HRV, heat recovery ventilator, or an air exchange, whatever you want to call it. What this thing does is it pulls fresh air in from outside, pumps it into certain areas in your room, living spaces, so living room, bedroom, rec room, stuff like that. And at the same time, it sucks stale air from kitchens and bathrooms out and pumps that outside. So it... Bless me. So it literally exchanges stale air for fresh air. So because that pulls air from outside, it can bring things in with it. It has filters, which you need to clean out every couple of months. And if it's a new home, you need to clean it out for the first few months immediately because there's still be, no matter how well the place was cleaned, there's still plaster dust and stuff in there. It'll be there for a little while. So first few months, make sure you haul out those filters and clean them. Now you can literally rinse them under the tap. It's not a tough thing to do. And then you put them back in. But the filters won't stop moisture. And the lines in and out of a ventilator or a heat recovery ventilator or an air exchange are insulated lines. And it's insulated with like a fiberglass bat type insulation like you would find in the exterior wall of a house that is built basically ever since people started using it and they didn't use spray foam. So if it's a snowstorm or a rainstorm or it's really, really windy and there's a lot of moisture, a lot of wetness in the air, if you have your air exchanger on, it will pull that moisture into itself and it'll sog up inside your insulation. And if it doesn't get the chance to dry out, and if there's a lot of it, it won't. If there's only a little bit of moisture, it will dry out because air flows through the thing constantly. But if it's a lot, it'll just not happen. And then that'll get moldy. And then you're literally just blowing mold through your entire house. And that's gross. And it'll make you sick. So in rain and in snow, turn off your air exchanger. It's got a dial on it. It's got a little thing. You just off. Or it might have, it might be set to relative humidity based on the ambient temperature outside. It might have an off, minimum, maximum thing. Either way, if it's a lot of snow or a lot of rain, turn your air exchanger or your HRV off. That's the tip. Here are two little hacks of common things that get on people's nerves inside their houses. The first one, laminate flooring. Now, laminate flooring has gotten a whole lot better than like 59 cents a foot at Walmart. That's like 9.3 millimeters thick and like you could almost peel the fake wood laminate sticker off the top of it. These products are a whole lot better now, but sometimes they do still separate from one end. So like you lay it like you would a hardwood in varying lengths. So this one might be a foot long. And then there's another one that might be 1.5 feet long. So you lay that one next to it. Then another one that might be 2 feet long. So you lay that one there. And then pieces butt up against. There's a little tongue and groove type of thing on those butt ends that come together. But a laminate floor doesn't fix to the floor sheeting below it. It doesn't glue, it doesn't nail. It all stays together and it expands and contracts, and it's meant to float with the changes in humidity in your house. Because all those things, like wood, anything that's made of wood or natural materials, will absorb and expel moisture based on temperature and the humidity in the room. For instance, this table is made of wood, and when I sat here, it was only this big, but because I'm so hot and the steam coming off me and the proximity to my nipples, it grew this large. So wood will expand and contract based on, I can't even get through that. You know, I will leave it up to you whether or not you think that will make anybody throw up, and you'll want to edit it out. So what will happen is sometimes those butt ends will open up. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. If you got laminate flooring anywhere in your house, they will open up. It's super easy to fix. Super, super easy to fix. I am not making that joke. I'm not making that joke. Joe is really, really in a mood today. He's having a lot of fun. In fact, I'm gonna put up right here, you have it. I'm gonna put up right here the picture that I took. I took this picture right before we started filming. So that's what I'm dealing with today. Mandalorian Joe. This is an issue. Anyway, those butt ends open up, and there's nothing fun about your butt end opening up. Well, anyway, next. It's super easy to fix. Put on a sneaker, a grippy sneaker, like for basketball or volleyball or going for a run, something clean so you don't slide. And literally kick one side, just like scuff your foot, like just scuff it. And it floats, it'll just slide right back into place. And if that opens it up on another end, do it there too, right until you can't see any of the gaps. When that flooring went down, if it was installed and cut to the right size, you'll have space under your baseboards on either end where you'll be able to have those gaps. Keep them together. You might want to take a vacuum or a broom or something and suck out any bits of gravel, because your flooring is outside, or dirt or whatever, so that there's room. Lego blocks, little bits of Polly Pocket, whatever it is, out of the gap, and then bring them together. That's a little hack that works for a lot of people that people do enjoy knowing. Now, this one is my favorite. You got a kitchen, right? And your kitchen is not a beautiful painted wood, and it's not a thermofoil wrap made from Premilay in Montreal, Quebec. It is a stained wood, likely birch, because birch is a really hard wood. Basically, it's almost as hard as maple, and it's much less expensive, and it's got a very similar sort of, what is the word I'm looking for? Grain. Wow. It's got a very similar grain, so a lot of our locally manufactured wood cabinets are made of birch. And then they're stained, and then there's a gloss or whatever over them. To us, that gloss looks really smooth, but it's actually remarkably porous. There's a lot of little holes in it. They're everywhere if you get up really close. I wrote the edit there for you on that one. And what happens is if moisture in the form of steam gets in there, it will go into those little porous areas, cool, and get trapped. And that happens when you have your kettle under your counter. So your electric plug-in kettle, all the steam goes up. So along the bottom of a lot of people's cabinets, they'll have this cloudy, milky sort of stain. It looks weird and you've always wondered what it is. It's just moisture trapped in the stain. That's it. It's just moisture. And it's really easy to get out. So if you're one of those people who have that milky haze, kind of a cloudy thing over the bottom of some of their cabinets, or maybe it's somewhere near your oven or where your coffee maker is, or whatever it is, you will have some of that. Chances are easy to get rid of. You need a clean cloth, you need rubbing alcohol, and you need a hair dryer. That's it. You put all three of those in a witch's cauldron and you stir it. And you say, bubble, double, toil and trouble. I can't. I was going to try and run a rhyme off the cuff about making your steam go away, but I couldn't. So here's what you do. Make sure you heat up your hair dryer. So give it a second for the coil to heat up. You take your cloth and you put your rubbing alcohol on it and you buff with the rubbing alcohol the part that is hazy while applying heat to it. Go slow, and what will happen is the alcohol serves as an evaporant. So alcohol evaporates at a much lower temperature than water does. While it's evaporating, it'll draw the moisture out of the stain, out of the gloss with it, and the heat from the hair dryer will expedite that process. And if you keep doing that bit by bit, keep making your cloth wet, not like soaking wet, but damp. Keep making it wet, and all of that haze will come out of your cabinet and it'll look brand new again. And do you know what? If you call somebody to come fix that for you, they're gonna charge you an arm and a leg. And all you need is 15 or 20 minutes and a trip to Shoppers for some rubbing alcohol. And chances are you already got the alcohol because, pandemic and you're cleaning shit like it's nobody's business. Because it's not anybody's business, really. Well, it sort of is. It is other people's business right now that your stuff is clean. Really. Because, don't get me sick. And chances are you got your optimum points, because last week it was like triple points day or something. You probably saved up like 50 to 75 or 100,000 points, and they got the toilet paper on sale again, so you could probably pick that up and get a good deal. And if you brings Jerry with you, Jerry's just gonna go over and look at the car magazines, pretend he knows what he's reading because he's a man, and he knows all about the cars and the trucks, when in reality, you just know what he's actually doing is lowering it and looking at the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition in the background. Yeah, Jer, I got my eye on you. Those are the hit, tip, shit, wit, sit. What? It's the remix. Wow. Those are the tips and tricks that have been most popular. But special bonus tip. Here's one for you. Ever paint your house and then forget what colors they are? And you need more of it and you don't know. And you left the paint down in the basement and it went bad. Or you left it outside in the truck and it froze. Because paint can freeze, and then it's no good anymore, probably. When you paint your house, and you have to drop all of your light fixtures, and you have to take the plates off of all of your plugs and switches, pick one plate, one plug. It probably makes sense to make it the light switch, because there's usually only one in a room, unless they're on a three-way on ends of hallways or stairways and stuff. Take one of those off, write the color code for what the paint is. I even take the chip that you get. I'd say chip, I don't mean a chip of paint, you know what I mean? Like you go to pick out paints and there's like a whole wall full of different colors and stuff. You take the little paper thing with the code and the color on it, fold it over, put it inside, not somewhere where it's gonna catch fire. Actually, do you know what? I'm not gonna tell you to do that because somebody will do it wrong and then I'll get sued and it'll just be stupid. Take a Sharpie and write the color paint code on the inside of the plate, put it back, and then whenever you need to repaint, you know the color code. It's easy to find. It's behind the light switch in every room. And on top of that, when you go to sell something, I can make a little marketing related story about it in your listing and be like, well, because these clients watch the Ask Joe show. Because let's face it, most of you are here to see what Joe does to make this interesting, as opposed to just me going on and on and on and saying stuff like, bit, flip, sit, hit, tip, bit, jit. Anyway, that'll just make for a nice little story. Those are your tips and trips and tricks and fits, for the Ask Jason 106 out of the vault. Sorry. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.
The Ask Jason Show exists so that you can get good real estate related information from a resource that you can trust. Now, speaking of resources you can trust, here's a couple I would trust to work with my mom. Because good enough for mom, good enough for you.